Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are going to explore an emotion you have absolutely felt deeply, but probably never could quite put a name to. We've all been trapped in that hyper-specific, emotionally crowded waiting room of the mind. You know, the one where standard English just kind of throws its hands up and quits. Today, we're mapping the beautiful architecture of a bittersweet longing that will entirely change how you view your own past. Let's dive in. To really get this, I want you to picture a sensory scene with me. You're sitting on your porch, the sun is just dipping below the horizon, and you're watching the wind rustle through an empty swing set. I want you to feel that hyper-specific, hollowed-out feeling blooming right in the center of your chest. It's heavy, right? And it's incredibly quiet. Or imagine another scenario. You're packing up the final remaining cardboard boxes in an apartment where you just spent 5 chaotic, incredibly beautiful years. The rooms are completely echoing. You're feeling this sharp but strangely grateful ache. It's the profound twist of leaving a beautiful chapter behind, knowing this space will never quite belong to you in the exact same way ever again. Or maybe it hits you when you're staring at an old, grainy Polaroid from a summer road trip. The friends in the photo? They've long since drifted into separate zip codes and entirely different lives. And here's the crazy paradox we're looking at. It feels incredibly good to hurt this way. It's a deep longing for sure, but it exists because of a profound gratitude that those people, those specific places, and those moments actually existed to make you feel this hollowed out in their absence. Which brings us to a pretty obvious question. Why don't we have a word for this? If you try to explain this exact, wonderful, painful feeling to a native English speaker, you'll honestly sound like you need an extraction from a cult, or maybe just a heavy dose of antidepressants. English simply doesn't have a single dedicated word to capture this specific emotional cocktail. In English, we try to stitch together what is essentially a Frankenstein monster of vocabulary. We use words like nostalgia or homesickness or yearning. But come on, nostalgia feels way too cheap, doesn't it? It feels like buying a retro t-shirt at the mall. And homesickness incorrectly implies there's a geographic cure. Like, if you just buy a plane ticket, the feeling is going to go away entirely. Our English vocabulary is just woefully inadequate for the emotional heavyweight we're actually dealing with here. Well, the answer to our vocabulary problem is saudade, pronounced saudade. This is the Portuguese emotional heavyweight champion of the world, widely considered one of the most notoriously untranslatable words in existence. By definition, it's the love that remains when its object is gone. It is literally the celebration of presence wrapped tightly inside the mourning of absence. Section 1. The melancholic DNA and where saudade was actually born. To truly grasp the weight of this word, we have to look at its historical origins, because the etymological roots are a literal battlefield for linguists. One widely accepted, sort of corporate-style theory traces it back to the Latin word solitus, which just means simple solitude or loneliness. But then there's the much cooler historical underdog theory. That one traces it to the medieval Arabic word suda, which translates to black bile. Back in medieval medicine, doctors believed your body was governed by humors. If your liver leaked too much soda into your heart, you became consumed by this bittersweet, bruised sadness. When the Moors and Portuguese intermingled, this dark medicinal concept of a bruised heart fused with the local language to create saudade. Fast forward to the 15th century. King Duarte of Portugal, literally nicknamed the philosopher, wrote about saudade as a complex collision of sadness, longing, and intense secret pleasure. Then, during the Age of Discoveries, Portuguese sailors left Lisbon on these little wooden caravels, right into the terrifying abyss of the Atlantic. The families left behind didn't just feel sad, they felt an existential craving for those lost to sea. This bruised heart became Portugal's national superpower. It became the acoustic foundation of fado and bossa nova music. It is so powerful that today, Brazil officially celebrates a National Day of Saudade every single year on January 30th. Section 2. Our Anglo-Saxon problem. The tyranny of fixing it. So here is the crucial point. Modern Western culture has a massive emotional literacy problem. We treat grief entirely like an illness that just needs to be cured. Contrast these two worldviews for a second. We live in this hyper-optimized, toxic positivity-infused society that treats mixed emotions like a software bug that needs an immediate patch. If you grieve a past relationship, society demands closure. Our English vocabulary forces us into clean binary boxes. You're either happy or you're sad. Saudade, however, offers a borderline rebellious approach. It doesn't want to fix the pain.
It wants to pull up a chair, pour the pain a glass of wine, and honestly, just honor it.
Section 3. The Radical Psychology Riving with the Ache.
It turns out modern psychiatry actually proves the Portuguese were centuries ahead of their time regarding emotional health. Recent cutting-edge research by Lodgme and colleagues experimented with helping individuals dealing with clinical depression. When people are trapped in self-blame, it's cold, it's paralyzing. It makes you want to crawl under the covers and hide from the world. But the research data shows something amazing. When people actively transform their destructive feelings into an approach-related emotion, like longing, framing their pain as a bittersweet yearning for connection, their depressive symptoms actually drop significantly. Longing is active. It keeps you connected to what truly matters.
Saudade essentially transforms the paralyzing weight of grief into a living, breathing monument to love. It allows you to stand up and say out loud, "This hurts terribly, yes, but the fact that it hurts is living proof that I loved something deeply. The pain is the price of admission for a beautiful life, and I am incredibly proud to pay it." Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds in practice. Everyday Saudade, building emotional maturity. Adopting this concept definitely doesn't mean you have to suddenly become a brooding poet staring out a rainy window all day. It's really about building emotional maturity into your own toolkit. So here are 3 clear steps to practice Saudade. Step 1. Ditch the pursuit of closure. When a sharp wave of missing an old friend hits you, don't instantly distract yourself. Let it sit there. That ache? That means your past was rich. Step 2. Find the pleasure in the pain. Lean right into the paradox, that sweet torment. Enjoy the warmth of the memory while you lament that it's over. And step 3. Stop labeling your days as strictly good or bad. A single day can be simultaneously heavy, melancholic, and deeply, deeply beautiful all at once. Section 5. The human thread. We are defined by attachments. You know, our culture loves to ignore the fact that we are simply sprawling networks of the people, the places, and the moments that we have fiercely loved. We are defined entirely by our attachments. So when those attachments vanish into the past, they leave these massive, irregular holes in our lives. The frantic English instinct is to quickly fill those holes with something new as fast as humanly possible to stop the hurting. But Saudade tells us to run our fingers along the rough edges of the empty space and just admire the shape of what used to be there. It's raw, it's honest, and it is a profoundly human way to live. I want to end our explainer today by leaving you with this one provocative question to think about. What beautiful ache are you proud to carry? Take a moment today, just a little moment, to reflect on your own bittersweet memories. Stop trying to cure your nostalgia, and instead, be hungry to embrace your own Saudade. Thank you so much for joining me, and as always, keep learning.